Hey folks, I have been looking forward to showing you how this works. And I'm going to give it just a couple of seconds for everything to play catch up. But what I'm getting ready to show you is something that I actually use all the time. And I want to tell you a little bit about what is changing and why so many of us actually really need it more than we thought that we did. So today we're talking about how businesses can use Gemini to create high converting visuals in minutes. It can happen that quickly, right? So whether you're a small business, a startup, a scale up, or even an enterprise team, there's one thing that you need more than anything going into 2026. And that's high performing visuals, quickly, consistently, and on brand. I was listening to someone, a video recently, and they were talking about how people are posting like 50 to almost 100 times a day. So just imagine how many assets you might need or how many visuals. So most people think that thumbnails are only for YouTubers, but that's not true anymore. Businesses today need thumbnails for marketing, sales, HR training, internal communication, even executive branding. And I remember having to create these assets from scratch. There was not a Canva at the time. We were doing it through Word doc, right? And Adobe, and just kind of combining a bunch of different programs together to get a really polished look. Sometimes we'd have to send it out to print as well. But the problem is that it takes too long. Even now, with today's assets that we have and today's resources, it still takes a really long time. So design can be slow. You have to take it through approval levels. Teams get bottlenecked and branding becomes inconsistent. If that's relatable, just post that in the chat. You can totally get that, right? So today I'm going to show you how your business can use Gemini to create polished professional thumbnails in minutes. And this is without needing a designer, without spending hours in Canva. So let's talk about the real issue. Businesses are producing more content than ever. And sometimes you need it for outreach visuals for sales. Sometimes we send things through emails and we want a really polished look, right? And that takes time. Covers for training. I don't know how many times I've configured and completely scratched everything that I had for training and had to do a whole new entire sheet and completely break down all the different layers. So I'm a layering type of person when I am creating an asset. I like to provide multiple elements that really draw your eye in, right? And so that would take me time because I would also create some of these things from scratch. Like sometimes I would draw them out and then I would have to scan them up and then I would have to reposition them and change and add colors and things like that. And so I don't have to do that with this particular tool that I'm getting ready to show you. Um, and we're talking about the Nano Banana Pro, but I'm also going to show it to you through Zoom. Okay. So the other business problem that we also face are thumbnails for webinars. I do lots of webinars, lots of training. I also work with people that's just their business. That's their churn. So they're constantly creating something and they're trying to keep it exciting and they don't want it to look boring, right? Or mundane or like, oh, I already seen a thumbnail that looks like this. So just think about the time and the effort that goes into creating new thumbnails and announcements for HR also. I seen a recent announcement and they were celebrating someone who hit a milestone. So they had to come up with something really quick to post, something catchy and exciting. And then also there are summary visuals for leadership as well, right? We're thinking about how can we put those advertisements together? But here's what's happening inside of most teams. Everything needs a design step. Designers are overloaded. Sometimes they don't have enough. I've worked with marketing teams where they only have just like one graphic designer, and that graphic designer only works part-time. But then they have like 50 projects. How are we going to make this work, right? I don't think we can. So teams sometimes wait days just for simple graphics. And I've heard marketing say, oh, this is really easy. All we have to do is move this over. We're going to inch this in and we're going to just expand this. We'll change a couple of colors. We may even change around the font. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. They're like, oh, but you're going to have to wait until next week because I have a few people ahead of you. I'm like, oh, okay. Simple sounds complicated. So branding becomes inconsistent because now you have people trying to piecemeal it together for themselves and trying to make it look nice, but they are not graphic designers. And you will be able to tell that, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, who put this together? Who put this together? So everyone uses different templates. I've walked around the office before and I've seen things that like, I'm just going to throw this together. I wish you wouldn't. Don't throw anything together. I know fast is important, quick, but when you look at graphics, you don't want it to look rushed. You want it to look intentional. And the cost of this is huge, right? Because it could mean lower engagement. I just recently tested a couple of thumbnails as well, one with a static image, one with a video, one with different background colors, one with different fonts, just to see what that looks like. And so that requires a higher churn, but you want it to look professional and also polished. So slower operations, more work on already stretched teams, but Gemini changes that entire workflow. So here's what Gemini can do for businesses. It can create branded graphics in just minutes. It also gives you multiple variations instantly, and it can improve photos like the lighting and the layout. I use it for a few different elements. There's still a really great image of me, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. I'll do a couple of demonstrations and give you a real feel for how you can use it in your business. It also keeps your brand consistent across teams. It's one of the things I think I really appreciate most about it is you get that brand continuity that often gets lost when you have multiple departments trying to churn out graphics and really quickly. It also removes the design bottleneck completely. So instead of waiting on design, now I will say this though, I still have an in-house graphic designer that I work with very closely. So I still have someone, a very, professional, someone with a lot of experience looking at these designs and saying, hey, okay, here's what I would do differently. Or let's run this back through AI. Let's look for different improvements in terms of font placement, font style? Is it consistent with this particular client's brand? So we're still looking at those elements. The good thing is that once you get in the habit of looking at what is necessary for the brand and placement and font and colors and the psychological attachment to what you're creating, whether it's around the holidays or if it's, something that's serious, you get to create this template for yourself. So now you know what you're looking for and you know what this design should feel like. Because what we don't understand is that design has a feeling to it. Have you ever looked at something and you can like smell grandma's apple pie, where you can look at an outfit and like, oh, I know exactly who will look so good in that. That's graphic design done really, really well. So this we're going to do a little differently. We'll type in a prompt, we'll upload a photo, and then I'll show you how Gemini can really handle the creative direction to this. And you can just post in the chat if you've been using Gemini, what you typically use it for in this particular case, or if you haven't, what you think it might really help you with, what could shave some time off of your work. I think that'll be really helpful for others to see how you use it as well. So with marketing teams, they need volume and speed. I've worked with marketing teams and you have multiple different clients. You also have multiple different initiatives, but with Gemini, marketing can instantly produce like promo thumbnail, campaign covers, YouTube thumbnails, blogs, or newsletter graphics. And then you can also do that A/B test variation that I was telling you about. And just imagine just creating like 5 different versions. And before I jump into like the presentation in terms of showing you like how I would use it and different ways that you can use it as well, I want to make sure that I'm covering the different areas in terms of industries that can find this really beneficial as a business and not just thinking that it's just like a really glorified thumbnail creator or a glorified, copywriting tool. But this is something that you can actually implement into your process when you're trying to speed up this area and also wanting it to look really, really polished. And let me go into Canva. So even though we create a lot of these designs, hmm, in Canva, I mean, originally perhaps in Gemini, I still always take it over to Canva and I drop it in for a more professional or a polished look. And the reason behind that is so that I can continue to really change the images and so I can get the look that I'm going for. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Just change a few things. So I want to show you a few of my thumbnails that I use and all the changes that I make to it. You see, I have quite a bit of stuff in here, and I'm always taking it to Canva to make some additional adjustments because it allows for me to really have maximum coverage in terms of creativity, and sky's is the limit. So I can take it in one place, I can create it in Gemini, I can personalize it, I can make some additional updates to it if I want to, just to get the look and feel that I'm going for. So just understand that these different, all the industries that I'm talking about have the ability to really use Gemini in a very professional and a polished way. And so it gives you that opportunity to gain more flexibility. So we talked about sales teams and how you can use it to create cover images for outreach messages. So I recently sent an email thread and I wanted to create some cover art. I went and used Gemini for it. And then I also dropped it into Canva and I did some additional editing. So you can add your visuals to proposals as well. This gives you a chance to really spice it up so it doesn't always look the same all the time. But then you have your core branding, right? So as you're making pitch decks look cleaner or you're personalizing client communications with sales teams, you get this well-designed visual way that you can increase response rates, and especially for cold outreach. So just think if I'm reaching out to some of these folks and sales teams as well, a lot of times this is like the first time you're making this connection. So if you have a really exciting thumbnail that you can use or that you can create in Chat GPT, you can create the text, but then also in Gemini. And I'm going to pull that up in a minute. So another department that uses a lot of images as well, and these teams are often left without any design support. I think I really, want to highlight that as well, is that oftentimes there's like no design support for some of these other departments and industries, and they're kind of just left on their own. Sometimes what you'll see is, and a lot of corporate folks, you can guys can correct me as well, you'll see packages that have already been created, right? They've already created emails that you send out and you're thinking, this is a little mundane, this is a little boring. Either you have the ability to change it because they've allowed you a little bit of flexibility to it, or it's like, okay, well, you can start from scratch. And so when you're in a team like that, you don't really have any design support, right? But you still need thumbnails for training modules, learning paths, onboarding content. We did a really great job when we were doing some onboarding before we created the content and we made it fun so that everyone knew what to expect before they came aboard and also understood the policies, benefit announcements. So we just kind of did a different spin on it and we used the images to make sure that we were making it exciting. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to pull in and show you how I use it. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just uploaded an image of myself. And you can just go here and you go to upload files and you can choose any image of yourself. What I want to kind of highlight with this particular image is that it's a thumbnail that I use for most of my social media marketing, right? And it's a consistent look of myself. And it's consistent with my branding. It has my font colors in the back. I don't have to use that for the thumbnail if you don't want to. So this is a starting point. And you can make some updates to this as well. Like I said, if you're an executive and you want to use it to be a little bit more visible online or leading initiatives, thumbnails matter. And you know this. You can even use this to post as just a comment and a chat, or you can also use it as an image and a post as well. And so you can use it for webinar thumbnails, keynote covers. I've used it for LinkedIn post graphics. I also use it for AI transformation updates if I want to let people know within my teams, hey, this is what's happening, or within any of the groups that we're working with, I can create something really neat. So this helps executives also to maintain a professional digital presence without depending on a designer, right? So lastly, I want to cover agencies and service providers before I go into this demonstration. And for agencies and consultants and service providers, the way that Gemini can work is it can be a margin booster, right? You can deliver design concepts faster. You can provide more client options. So not only can you create the content in Gemini if you needed to, and just really explore what that look like, that package would look like for your agency or service provider, you can also maintain brand consistency. And I talk a lot about that because this is where most of us truly struggle as business leaders, founders, business owners, is having that brand consistency. We may see something that pops up on TV or the news, and we're like, oh, this looks good. I think this would look nice for my brand. But then we also notice that it's not consistent. It doesn't have the font colors we would normally use. It doesn't have the font style that we would use, and it's just missing a lot of different elements. So trying to transfer what that looks like over to a business concept can be very complicated and frustrating. I know I have been there. And so this is one of the things that I also teach within my classes and also my video momentum marketing program as well, is how to create that brand continuity, how to extend that, even though you may not be able to create everything from scratch, and you don't have to, because we're going to take the power of AI, Gemini, and we're going to just walk through what this looks like. So it also means happier clients, quicker delivery, better profitability. I've had people reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, I really love the way, this cover art looks, or I love the way the graphics look, or the presentation, or the webinar, whatever that is. I get a lot of compliments on it because I'm able to create something that is dynamic, is different, you haven't seen in other places, and you can layer it the way that you want. So limitation is only your imagination. And that's one of the things that I really love. So I'll show you here. I've uploaded an image of myself, a headshot, right? And just to give you a quick review again, I use this one because it is a thumbnail for my social media. And I like brand consistency. And this is a great image, I think, of how I look. And it's very clear. It shows my eyes very well, the features of my face, my neckline, my chin, even my earlobes. This helps to create multiple types of photos that still look very realistically like you. So create an image of me looking out into a busy meeting room shot with low glam and a, let's, glitter ballroom gown. All right. Also, I want to take note that this particular subscription that I'm in, it is a free subscription. And as you can see, it's loading Nano Banana, and it's going to work its magic. Sometimes it does take a few minutes. And it has Gemini on it because in a previous request, I asked for it to add Gemini, the image. And so this is what it created. Create an image of me looking out into a busy meeting room, shocked with low glam, glitter, and ballroom gown. So I'm going to I'm going to go to a new chat. Move this over. Okay. I'm going to upload the same photo and we're going to do something else with it. Scroll down a bit for the image that I want. And if you notice, I also am using an image where I have removed the background. So the focus really is just going to be on me. I'll collapse that. And just to save a little bit of time. So I'm going to use a clean layout, professional font, brand colors, keep the design minimalistic, but impactful, ensure the text is readable, hierarchy is clear. So we do these things also as you're creating an image so that you can continue to create brand continuity. So you can add your brand style. You can also add the concept and you can ask for it to generate different variations. So now we are going to mm, stop sharing and share again just to make sure we are all looking at the good stuff. Okay, excellent. So what it says here in the prompt that I entered was use clean layouts, professional fonts, and brand colors of, we're going to actually enter in a few brand colors. I'm going to grab that from Canva really quickly. And I'll copy that in. I'm just going to copy in a few colors. Now, you don't have to get as specific if you don't want to. Um, you can always put like a bluish green or something to that effect if you wanted to. And I'm just going to copy in a few more colors. So this helps for you to create something very specific, and excuse me, something very specific, and also focus on brand continuity as well. Okay, and I'm just going to add a few more details. Keep it warm and inviting with diverse groups. And we'll see what it comes back with. Sometimes it does take a few minutes, and then sometimes it happens right away. We'll scroll down and see that it is working. All right. So welcome C-suite leaders, human resources, onboarding journey. We're going to expand this and see if I can make it just a little bit larger. Can download the image. Usually it can. I'll come back to that one later. I'm not too worried about that. So based on the prompt that we gave it, we said use clean layouts, professional fonts, and brand colors. I gave it a few colors to use. Keep the design minimalist, but impactful. Ensure text is readable and hierarchy is clear. Use this image of me to create an onboarding infographic for human resources for C-suite level. So it used essentially the same image of me. It removed the background, the fuchsia background that we had here. And it gave a breakdown, our vision, strategic partnership, talent empowerment. It actually just created it for us. So we don't have to take this into another editing tool if we didn't want to, but you could if you wanted to change colors, or if you wanted to add more branding or your logo, if you wanted to do that. Key areas of focus, it says leadership development, organizational design, things that are consistent with C-suite. It's that verbiage, that particular language. Your onboarding path gave us a breakdown here. A couple of things that I don't love about it is that kind of squeeze some of the font in. You can always come back and make some changes. And it already put together a diverse group. That's what I requested. It did pretty good, I would say, on the image. Sometimes it's a hit or miss with the image, and you have to even give it more specific details in terms of which type of diverse group that you're looking for. So if you want someone that has long hair, if you want someone that has short hair, or someone of a specific ethnicity, you can plug all of those things in so that you get something that's tailor-made to what you're looking for. Now I'm going to ask it to create multiple versions of this image. All right. That didn't take too long, right? A couple of seconds. I've seen it take much longer. Wasn't bad. Okay, let's see if we can notice a difference. All righty, so automatically I see a difference here. I don't know who they cut off, but they did. So the image is not as clean as the other one. Here's the other image. You see the handshake here. But it did what we requested. It did give us a different version of what we're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few more examples within some other industries to give you an idea of what that looks like. Okay. So this one is going to be, we'll focus on marketing. Alrighty, so I'm asking for it to use my image of me looking happy in a blue. I'm going to get really specific. Blue, long sleeve, empire dress, create a professional marketing thumbnail, include, we're going to fill this in, product, thumbtacks. I'm just filling anything in, thumbtacks for hire. Use bold, clean typography, style, modern, minimal luxury. So we're going to go with luxury. We'll see how luxury we can get on thumbnails. Keep colors on brand, make it attention grabbing, but not cluttered. So let's see what it comes up with. So our focus right now is on market prompting and using the image to kind of pull in the description that we gave it to see what it comes up with. So before I jump into that, I'm going to go back to the prompt. I said, use my image of me looking happy in a blue long sleeve empire dress, create a professional marketing thumbnail, include thumbtacks for hire. That's the product and service that I put in. Use bold, clean typography. The style is luxury. Keep colors on brand, make it attention grabbing, but not cluttered. So it's going with the colors that we had created from a previous prompt. If you want to change that, you would just go ahead and plug in those particular colors. If you already have specific brand colors and you want to use the hex numbers for that, you could. If not, then you can just go with dark purple or green. But if you want to be really specific and you're looking at brand continuity, whether it's sales, HR, executive, doesn't really matter. But if you're looking for a specific look, you want to make sure that you give it as much detail as possible. So here's what it came back with. I think it looks good. It has a similar look to me. Me knowing what I look like is not exact. Maybe you don't look at me all the time. You might think this is not bad. But in terms of output, I think it looks great. C-suite talent, strategic placement. Together we build the future. Even gave us a little tagline if we wanted to use that. So essentially, I'm just showing you that sky's the limit with this. You can use it directly through Gemini, or you can go to the platform and you can use Nano Banana there as well. So you can do either one. And you can just whatever is, in your imagination. For business, you can keep it professional. You can keep it on the executive line if you wanted to. If you want something that is a little bit more creative, you can do that as well. We'll do another one. And I'm going to say, forget the previous brand colors. Choose colors that are for that. Yes, I'm typing a lot. And I'm going to read to you what I'm typing in a moment. And then we're going to add in some other prompts. Not correcting it. Let's see. There you go. Doesn't really matter if it was lowercase or uppercase, but for me it does. So I had to fix it. All right. So I said, forget the previous brand colors. Choose colors that are professionals, that feel exciting and new. Use an image of me, say me, training on a balcony in Egypt. I'm going to say, remove the tint away with a beautiful background. And a luxury feel, create a professional training module cover, include the course title, use a clean, welcoming design, make it feel accessible and professional. I put luxury in it. We'll see, because some people may say they kind of contradict each other. We'll see what Gemini creates for us. Okay, so before we go forward, let me go backwards. What I had asked was that I said, forget the previous brand colors. These are what we have already created so far, right? And I put in a specific color. And so it kept pulling from that. And then this time I said, forget the previous brand colors, choose colors that are for professionals that feel exciting and new. Use an image of me training on a balcony in Egypt with a beautiful background, luxury feel, create a professional training module cover, and include the course name. And so it came up with Global Leadership Accelerator Executive Mindset. This is misspelled. We would need to fix that. Strategy, and it gave an image of me. I looks like I'm wearing workout gear. This is what it came up with. The combination of, I guess, luxury and beautiful background. It says I should be in workout gear. That's what Gemini thinks. So we'll go with that. That's what I'm training with on Global Leadership Accelerator. So this is what it came up with. And as you can tell, and this happens a lot, so don't be alarmed by it, because it does happen where it spells words incorrectly, and you can correct it and say, hey, this is incorrect. Sometimes it'll make adjustments, sometimes not. You can also download it and edit it in one of your graphic design programs, whether it's Canva or another program, and you can just extract the words from it and then clean it up, or you can do an overlay if you needed to. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is that even with the misspelled words, and even if you have to make some corrections and some adjustments, what you will find is that it's still much, much faster than having to create this from scratch. So even if I were to open up a thumbnail that was already set for me, perhaps in Canva, I still will have to try to figure out word placement, letter placement in relation to the lines, and centering and everything else. But this has already been done for me. So clearly I'm training here. That's what it says I'm supposed to be doing, right? And I'm also going to ask for it to create 3 different versions and different professional outfits, and check for spelling. Now let's see what it comes up with. So like I said, I was supposed to work out, I guess, while I was training executives. That's what Gemini thought I was supposed to be doing. Okay, so we still have still misspelled. It did give me variations of this image, and this is their professional outfits. And I asked for 3 different variations, but it only gave me one. So that's just something you have to consider also. is that it doesn't always give you exactly what you're looking for, but you can get really close to it based on your prompts, how specific and detailed that they are. So I hope this helps you in terms of the type of flexibility that you can get by using the Nano Banana with Gemini. And the one that I showed you was a free subscription, just so that you know, it wasn't a paid subscription. So just imagine with a paid subscription, you probably get, way more options for more prompts. Quality may even be a little bit better. But the main thing that I also wanted to point out is how much time that it actually saves, regardless of what business or industry that you're in, and how businesses can use Gemini to create high converting visuals. And you can tell it was really quickly. It only took a few minutes. So just think when you're in a pinch, and I know it happens a lot for a lot of my leaders and executives and a lot of my practitioners, and you're having to come up with something fairly quickly, but you want it to look professional. So you can consider that. You consider your font, your placement, your typography, your colors and branding. And if you're wanting to use an image of yourself, that's fine. And if you don't, you don't have to. I use the image of myself just to show you the level of flexibility that you get, but you can use any image that you want. You can also upload different images so that you can give it different hints. You can give Gemini hints in terms of what you're trying to create. So, sky's the limit. I hope that you found this helpful. Go ahead and make a comment. Let me know what your favorite part was. And until the next time, this is Simone signing off.